Hello and welcome to our creative writing lessons. So this week we are going to have a series of creative writing lessons to help you remember some of the techniques for description that you've learnt over the course of this year and to give you a chance to practice using them in some writing. So each lesson will follow this format. We are going to look at a picture. We will answer questions about that picture in order to get your imaginations going. Then we will look at your success criteria for the lesson and these 6 sentences. So sentences that actually aren't very interesting, and then you will use your success criteria to improve these, to make them better, and I will help you by modelling some writing too. So, first of all, our first picture is called Curiosity Shop, and you can see the picture here. I would just like you to pause the video now and to take 30 seconds to have a really good look at the picture. Off you go, please. Okay, hopefully you've had a good chance to have a look at this. Now, I am going to read you some questions about this picture. And what I would like you to do is, after each question that I read out loud, I would like you to pause the video to think about the answer to the question. We don't know the answers to these questions. You can make up the answers, okay? So this is to get your creative juices flowing. Then you are going to go to your worksheet here and write down an answer for your question. So every day your sheet will look like this. You'll have the success criteria for the lesson at the top. Then under question time, we would like you to write the answers to your questions. As I've said, the answers can be anything you like. They can be as wild and as creative as you want. Okay, so I'm going to read you the questions about Mr. Obadiah's Curiosity Shop now. After each one, pause the video, think about the answer, write the answer down. So, question number 1. This is Mr. Obadiah. He is about to say something. What is it that Mr. Obadiah is going to say? Question number 2. What kind of man do you think Mr. Obadiah is? What do his clothes tell you about him? Question number 3. Why does Mr. Obadiah hold one hand behind his back? Question number 4. What do you think the Curiosity Shop is? Is it just a shop? And question number 5. What do you think the shop has inside it? What do you think the shop has inside it? If you need to go back and listen to those questions again or pause the video again and take some time to answer them, please do. Once you have answered all of those questions, we can move on. So, your success criteria are: I have used a simile. My example is as peaceful as a human in prayer. A wonderful example. In fact, my favourite example of a simile that a student has suggested this year. Success criteria number 2. I have used an expanded noun phrase, and we know that that means adjective, comma, adjective, noun. So the ancient, comma, gnarly tree is my example. I have started a sentence with an alternative verb. Gazing at the flower, comma, and then finish the sentence. Gazing is the alternative verb because it is a more interesting way of saying looking. It is a powerful verb. Next success criteria. I have started a sentence with an adverb. Anxiously, comma, Okay, anxiously means the same as nervously. And finally, I have used alliteration. The sparkling stars shone spectacularly. I have a s in sparkling, a s in stars, and a s in spectacularly. So this is alliteration. We have the same success criteria in all of the next 4 lessons. So if you don't use one of these this time, that's okay. You can think about using it the next time. To help you, I have also uploaded these sheets. So you will have a fantasy settings adjective mat, an alternative verbs mat, and an adverbs mat. So you'll be able to look at those as you want while you're doing your writing, and I might use these ones while I'm doing my writing. So, first of all, our sick sentences. Mr. Obadiah was a tall man. He wore a jacket and some goggles. He tapped on the counter. On his shoulder was a creature. He had one hand behind his back. Inside his shop were lots of treasures. Boring. These sentences are all boring. They are all short sentences and they have no descriptive language in. Here, there are 6 sick sentences. Your job is to improve them. So you should still have 6 sentences in your piece of writing, but they should be 6 brilliant sentences. So let's have a go at improving some together. So, here we are. Let me just change colour. Okay, so I'm going to start. Instead of Mr. Obadiah was a tall man, I'm still going to start Mr. Obadiah. Mr. Obadiah was a... I'm going to go now to my adjectives mat. I think I might use magnificent. So Mr. Obadiah was a magnificent man. And I'm going to extend my sentence now and make it longer. Who was as mysterious as he was mischievous. So Mr. Obadiah was a magnificent man who was as mysterious as he was mischievous. So he wore a jacket and some goggles. Boring. He wore a crimson red jacket and some aviator goggles. I'm going to add in a sentence now because that's okay. Perhaps, comma, in a previous life, which means an earlier life, he had been a pilot. Because we know that aviator is technical vocabulary for somebody who flies planes or pilots. Right, next sentence. He tapped on the counter. Tapped is a verb. So I know that I can choose an adverb to describe that verb and I can use it to start my sentence. How does he tap on the counter? Let me see. Let me go to my adverb mat. I think I am going to choose, I'm looking in this how section and I'm going to choose defiantly, which means when you're told not to do something and you do it anyway. So, defiantly, comma, he tapped on the counter. Next sentence, on his shoulder was a creature. I'm going to say peering out, which means looking out, that's an alternative verb. Peering out over his shoulder was an unusual creature. full stop. Next sentence. He had one hand behind his back. I'm going to start this sentence with a simile now. Like a magician, comma, he held one hand behind his back as if he held a great secret. Full stop. And finally, inside his shop were lots of treasures. I'm going to try and use some alliteration now. So I'm going to say, the treasures in his shop sparkled seductively. If something does something seductively, it means it draws you in. So the treasures in his shop sparkled seductively. Okay, to finish now, which we always do, I'm going to check off my success criteria. So in red, I have used a simile. Let me see. I have used like a magician. So I can draw a line there. And I'm just going to put a little one there so that I know that I've done it. Okay, an expanded noun phrase. Have I used an expanded noun phrase? No, I haven't. That's okay, because I can use it again. I can use one in my next piece of writing. I have started a sentence with an alternative verb. Yes, I have done that because I said peering out over his shoulder. So I can put one in there. I have started a sentence with an adverb, anxiously. I have used defiantly, so green. Defiantly, he tapped on the counter. And I have used alliteration in blue. Let me see. I had sparkled seductively. I also had a magnificent man who was as mysterious as he was mischievous. I didn't know that that was alliteration when I wrote it, but in fact it is, so I'm going to put it in there. Okay, so you can see that I have all of them except an expanded noun phrase. And what I can actually do, if I come back and edit my writing, I can say, peering out over his shoulder was an unusual, comma, beautiful. Adjective, comma, adjective noun. Was an unusual, beautiful creature. So, orange. Here, and then I can put one there. Okay, so I have now used all of the success criteria. I have written 6 sentences and my sentences are interesting and exciting. Can you please go and do the same? So on your worksheet you should be answering the questions here. Then you should write your 6 sentences here, but they won't be 6 sentences, they will be brilliant sentences. And then when you are finished, check off your success criteria and underline them in the correct colour on your sheet. Right, your teachers will be looking forward to reading your work. Thank you and goodbye.